Good morning to all of you. This morning, I know that you are familiar with every Sunday you have Dhamma talks like this. Today, we were planned to talk about sublime state of Karuna. Question is to alleviate suffering. I believe this is not the first time you are hearing about four sublime state of mind. You may have, even many times you have heard about this, you're familiar with this. Let's maybe still be different aspects, different ways we are looking at it. Even though we just pick up Karuna, it is not possible to talk just about itself. So mostly we discuss this, even Buddha, many places in the discourses, he discussed about this, he was teaching about this, always, all four of them. So we can reflect on things and see how it is, because I thought of this alleviate suffering without that thought that there wouldn't be a Buddha today. I think you know that Buddha, to be the Buddha, what did he have first? That compassion he had. As a bodhisattva, he performed virtues to be the Buddha. Why did he want to be the Buddha? Think about it. He didn't do that to boost his ego. So we want to be someone, to have some kind of, attitudes we have. We want to achieve something. For that we do that. But Buddha, as a bodhisattva, he didn't have such thing, but out of compassion he wanted to be the Buddha, right? If you think about it, see that, I think you all familiar with the stories. Buddha, what we call this first declaration from a Buddha. That Bodhisattva, he met Buddha Dipankara, and that was the time he received first declaration from the Buddha. Niyata Vivarana we call it. So at that time, he had an opportunity for himself to realize the Dhamma. In the stories those are stories, but it's still nice to know. In the story it says, the Shakyamuni Buddha received 24 times declaration from 24 Buddhas. It could be we don't find it in Tripitaka. Tripitaka only find few names of those Buddhas. Yet, we have learned, for some reasons, in historical, those stories, 24 times he received declaration from a Buddha that this person is going to be the Buddha in the future. So, however, first story that we learn is Buddha Dipankara story. There we see Sumedha ascetic. He comes down, even though they are ascetics, they come down from time to time looking for, we all need salt, that sodium. So even though in the story it says, sometimes they come down to human, communities, they come and find what they were looking for, go. And when Sumedha came, that particular day, these people were so excited. And they are together with everybody else, they are functioning, they are working hard, decorating a road. Decorating in the sense, like what we call a Sramadana. They come together and do the volunteer work to prepare a road where sometimes, not like today, that ancient time, they were just, filling the dirt and nice and leveling it up. They would work hard, and this Sumedha ascetic saw this. Then he asked the people, why are you so excited and getting involved in this kind of activities? Then they said, Buddha Dipankara is visiting, so therefore we are preparing this road for him to come to our town. Then he asked, can I be part of it? They said yes. Then he was assigned a spot where it was a big pothole, and he was trying to finish it by himself and work, using his physical energy. But before the Buddha came, he could not finish it. And therefore what he did was, when Buddha and the monks arrived, he thought, if I become the Buddha in future, may the Buddha and the monks cross over my body without stepping on this pothole. Having such aspiration, he laid down on this pothole, being a bridge to the Buddha. So Buddha and monks came, and before he was looking, what is this man, why he is doing this? Then he saw this, his aspiration. Having seen it, so he wished, this person is going to be the Buddha at such and such time in the future by such and such name. That was the first declaration that he received. So from that time onward, so he performed those virtues to be the Buddha, what we call as perfections. So, if we think about it, we cannot do such thing yet. Dedicate our time. We all develop metta, we all practice karuna, and mudita, upekkha, these are the 4 sublime states, right? We do have these qualities in us, but not to that level. Simply think about it. How Bodhisattva was practicing, why he did all those things. He went through so many difficulties and dedications, giving up his part of bodies, becoming food to the leopards, right? And stories are there in such. Why did he do those things? Was because of compassion. Having compassionate thought, not only for himself. His wish was, he wanted to realize the nature of this life and find the path to happiness for himself as well as to share with the others. Even, in Mahayana tradition you have Bodhisattva vow, right? What do they say in that? I will be in the samsara until I save all sentient beings. So that was the idea. Even Buddha Shakyamuni had the same feeling. He wanted to save all sentient beings. Yet, is it something possible? Hard. To save all sentient beings, nobody would be able to do that. Why is that? You must be a qualifier for that. If you are not qualified for it, you will not be, even the Buddha is there. Maybe we all have been with him, so we are still here in the samsara. So we all must have qualifications to achieve, to come to that certain levels. So therefore, we have to understand this Dhamma and start practicing it, strengthening ourselves. So this is why we Buddhists and we are learning Dhamma, but learning Dhamma is not enough, we definitely have to practice. We must be practicing and practicing and practicing to come to that perfect level of understanding, realization. So when we look at this 4 sublime state, Buddha, he mentioned many sutras, he talks about it. And some of the sutras talk about, in addition to 5 precepts, he encourages us to practice these 4 qualities in us. So we may be thinking, I'm really good, kind person. I have metta in my mind. We all have. But I don't know how much we need it. As we do practice it, if we do practice it, you may be What are the areas that we can test ourselves? We do have metta. Look at the Metta Sutta, what Buddha says about it. Like a mother risking her own life to save her only child, we must be able to practice metta. If that is the strength of metta, so we are not there yet. Right? Think about it. So in the Metta Sutta, this is how he encourages us to practice. So mother is risking her own life to save her only child, but not for the other children. Right? Mother does have metta, karuna towards her own child. Maybe none of us have same level to the others. But Buddha is encouraging us to develop that. So that's a good test for us. Do I have it? You can always ask. I ask that question myself. So I know that I'm not in that level, but we can still improve that quality. We always can practice it. By practicing, we can strengthen, and then definitely, karuna is extension of that. Who have metta, that friendliness, when you can see someone in suffering state, what he encourages, the definition is that, I would say in Pali first, paradukhe sati hadaya kampanang karotiti karuna. When you see someone in danger, in pain, in suffering, if heart begin to pound, that is called karuna. So I think we can feel that sometimes when we see things, we do, have that kind of feeling. If I can help this person, definitely without asking, you may go and do something when you see some situations like that. I know that sometimes maybe I have seen children, when they see a bird falling on the ground, they go and try to give water. That is kind of karuna, that compassion. You see that bird is in danger, so therefore you can try to help. So that nature, when we think of it, that Bodhisattva has a greater level. That's why he did perform those virtues and taking such a long time to be the Buddha. He wanted to be the Buddha not to boost his ego, but really out of compassion he wanted to save those sentient beings, help these people who are in suffering in the samsaric cycle. So that was the idea. So he was working for that goal for a long time. In the Buddha story of the Buddha, he went for 4 eons plus time period. He was extended time period. Think of it. Buddha Shakyamuni, in his story, he was in 4 eons plus time period. He was in the samsara because he gave up that opportunity that he had. The opportunity he had was to listen to Dhamma and find his own liberation. Right? He gave up. He thought, not only myself, I will find the path and share it with the other being. That was the idea. Because of that, he went through such a long time period in samsara. Eon means long, according to calculations, ancient calculation. So, however, after performing those virtues, he was teaching us this. In the teaching it comes, this, in addition to those 5 principles, practice these 4. It's really good if you can practice. Nothing much. We do practice 5 principles. What are we doing nowadays? We recite 5 principles, but I don't know if you are practicing it. I don't know if you are thinking about it. Many habitually do recite after the monks, right? We have to take it really, you have to determine it. Buddha's, those perfections are for us to practice too. We can use those things. Determination, one of them, right? So determination we can practice to, I will practice these basic principles in my life. If that is your determination, once you set your mind, having that as a goal, definitely you can do it. If you don't have determination, what you do is you're repeating traditionally. Habitual practice. So you're not practicing. So think of it, if we can determine I'm going to practice these things. There may be difficulties. There are never difficulties. If you can do just practice one, start with that, and the rest, one by one, you can add into that practice. So Buddha's perfections are for us to practice too. That you have to remember. We can benefit where we are in our level. Buddha perfected them such a long time, so he achieved his goal. He found what he wanted, and luckily, so we have that his experiences and sharing with us as a Dhamma today. So that Dhamma is not just to listen for us. We have to apply that every day and use it. We may be not strong. We may be weak. It's okay. But we have to, little by little, we have to strengthen them. That is what we're supposed to do. So as we learn you have learned this before, so therefore I'm just, maybe don't go into details. Metta Sutta, I always encourage children to learn it and think about it, because when you read it and remember the meaning, then it's in your system. When it is in your system, you keep practicing. You have opportunity to practice. So you practice it. And then definitely as extension, we go into the compassion, Karuna. In Karuna, as I mentioned, as according to definition, we little by little, we keep practicing, and we seeing the pain of other person. We attend to that, and we make not having any ulterior motives. Sometimes we do things in the wrong reasons. Even practicing metta, when we do practicing metta, it should be coming. Hidden things could be there. Hidden agendas could be there. For example, let's take there are two mothers. One mother, same goal. One mother has a goal that she wants to help her child to get the highest marks in the exam. The other mother also has same target, and she also wants to teach and help her child to get the highest marks. Both of them are having same goals, and they are practicing. Then after the exam or whatever the test that they had, one child did not get the highest mark. So then what happened? This mother is very upset about this. One mother is so upset about it, so she was screaming at the child, so I did this much, I spent my time, all time is wasted and everything, so she was blaming the child. And the other mother, who had the same goal, she was very happy, but she did not yell at her child, and she was encouraged. It's still okay. It's nice that you did not get, but we can try again. Very compassionately, kindly motivating this child to study well again. What is the difference in these two mothers? One is compassionate, the other one is so upset about this. What is that? Anger is in her. I think you have heard, you have learned, kama raga, patigha, mana, uddacca, avijja, this kind of Dhamma words that you listen. Kama, sensual pleasures. We are seeking pleasure. With that always comes is, patigha means conflict. Anger is there. Hate is there. So one mother, she was very compassionately helping the child. Other mother is doing something, helping, yet to boost her own ego. Why? She have something in her mind she did not know. She want to hear praise from the other people. Oh, your child is so smart. She got the highest mark from the test. Everybody talks. She like to hear that kind of praise. Right? Otherwise she shouldn't be so upset about it. Genuinely, if she were wishing the success of the child, so definitely she would have thought like the same way as the other mother. So therefore, when we are practicing, we have different kinds of attitudes in our minds, our desires in our mind. So she had this kind of desire. Same thing could be happening within us. Suppose now you have a cat at home. Normally these certain cats are very, kind of naturally, they like to disturb other beings. Sometimes they catch mouse. Sometimes maybe going and catch the squirrel. Right? They do kill. They do hurt. Look at what happened in your mind. When the cat going and catching the squirrel, you think, oh, so poor thing, so you're very compassionate to the squirrel, right? Poor thing. So you chase away the cat, get angry with the cat, right? You are compassionate. But same cat goes and catch a mouse who are at your home, then what happened to your mind? Huh? So now, you think you are very compassionate. He did a nice thing because he killed a mouse that disturbs you, right? Look at our minds, how their minds are working. That is not metta, that's not compassion. That both of that kind of thoughts are unskillful thoughts, akusala. We have to be careful to look at these things. You have to look at your own mind. Unskillful thoughts, these are called. You are creating negativities, negative karma. So this is how minds are working. So that both thoughts are not. So definitely what we have to look at it, then how can we avoid this situation? Now, metta, karuna, briefly I can talk about mudita. Mudita is altruistic joy or sympathetic joy. You are happy seeing the success of another person. It's a little bit different, area. So we are happy looking at the success. We have a free mind to look at success of another person with joyfulness, with happiness, which is very hard sometimes to certain people, not to everybody. How you condition your mind, depending on how you condition your mind is. And then comes to upekha. Upekha, we think, so balanced mind. We have to be how to see that balance in this. So we, without getting upset or without getting, highly elate in our mentally. So this balancing our mind, we do practice. But in these places, we don't see that. So the metta was not, the upekha was not there. In reality, if you do practice upekha, what Buddha said was, he was, asking us to do it. This is not something new, but you have heard. In Pali, Buddha encouraged us to practice with, his karmic causes of this. Kammassa komhi kamma dayado kamma yoni kamma patisarno yang kammang karissami kalyanang va papa. Whatever the karmas that we do, good or bad, so that's going to be our own, right? Results, who is going to benefit the results? I myself. I could do good things, I could do bad things, but resultants are, I am the owner of those kind of karmic actions. That's my relative. That is the origin of all these things, even my birth. So Buddha, many a times he was talking about this. The karma. So this is the reason why he said, not to do any bad things. He was encouraging not to do anything bad, anything hurting other people, anything harming other people. So therefore he was encouraging us to continue to practice things, seeing these results. Karma is not for somebody else. That is, we do, whatever we do, we are the owner of those karmas. I am the beneficiary of that. So therefore, I have to be careful, be mindful, especially not to do anything wrong, anything hurting other people. So, encouraging us to create our karmic energy in such, so he was guiding us. This is the way to look at this, our upekha condition. One of the noble practices, sublime state of mind. So I think it makes very good sense, because once we have that sila foundation in us, then if we do have practice metta, we really don't do anything wrong to anybody. Genuinely we can continue to do so. So we will become very strong in that. So definitely we will be helping ourselves as well as the others. Just only thing we have to do is watching our own actions. So I am the beneficiary of it. Therefore, if I do nice things, so we always, Buddha encourages us to practice metta. Not only to myself, it's going from spreading all around. South, north, south, east, west, as well as up and down. All 6 directions is covered. So Buddha encourages us to strengthen it. Definitely once we do it with understanding, it's going to bring peace to ourselves first. And if you're really strong in that, you know that always, I do not have an enemy. Right? We have ability to forgive that person. So definitely when we have that ability, that skill, that's going to be something very helpful for us. Spiritual work. These are spiritual. We don't have to put it as a label under the Buddhist. These are very common things. 5 precepts are even prior to the Buddha, those were there. Buddha adopted them. Nice, something nice for people to build up their own good character. And then in addition to that, if he's talking about these 4, they are really nice, noble qualities, sublime qualities that maintain the purity of our mind. And so you have, once you're stronger in that, definitely you don't think that you have an enemy. Even the person that you considered before that was as an enemy, you forgive that person. Why is anybody do that? Why did he did it to me? Because he was ignorance, right? Ignorance is one of the root causes of our negativities, all the negativities. Remember, greed, hatred, and ignorance. These are the 3 root causes of all of our negative activities. So therefore, once we root it out, it's very peaceful for us. Peace is there. Nibbana is there. Once there's no greed, we don't run after things. But we all have. So therefore, at least if we can work out our anger, ill will, aversion, whatever you call hatred, you call it many names, but it could be milder, it could be stronger. If we can work out that with metta, karuna, mudita, and upekha, all these things are helping us for that. So that would be a really great strength to maintain the purity of our mind. Definitely we know that when I'm stronger in that, I do not have an enemy. I always can forgive that other person. Whoever done even the mean things to me, I look at that person as, why did he do that? Nothing else but because of ignorance. Right? We all do wrongdoings because of our ignorance. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see the result of it. I couldn't see it as, oh, it's going to be my own karma. If he saw that, he would not do it. He or she. So therefore, it's very nice for us to think and start practicing. These are possible. In everyday life, you may find someone doing something mean to you. Oh, forgive that person. You can forgive that person if you have practiced metta in your daily life. You see it, and then you practice. Oh, this silly thing, silly man, he is doing or she is doing this because due to the ignorance. He or she cannot see the resultants of this. It's going to go after him. But you feel, now you have compassion. When you see that person is going to suffer in the future, I don't want him to suffer. May he realize this nature and practice good things. So this is, when we see that, even that moment that you are encountering with something conflicting with the other person, that is the opportunity for you to practice metta or karuna. Right? So, this teaching is, Dhamma is for us to practice in everyday life. You must be able to see it. You must be able to pick up. Then you see that you definitely can pick up. And you practice. You become strong. Otherwise what happens? We every day have to go to temple to practice. No, temple is not the place to practice. Everyday life you are supposed to practice. Every moment you're supposed to practice. So you have a choice. Take it into to your minds and start practicing. Strengthen yourself. So Dhamma is to practice every day. Then you can alleviate your suffering and the suffering of others too. It could be hard, but we have to train ourselves. This is a self-training. You learn Dhamma and you apply it everyday life. Without application, no meaning. You learn. How long have you been learning? When the chief priest was every day, Friday, you had a Dhamma talk. He's, share the Dhamma. Very simple way he was sharing it. So definitely we have to learn them and practice them. At least little bit that we learn, we have to apply it. That is one of the reasons when I say that it comes to my mind is that sati is the key, right? Satipatthana, mindfulness. We have to be mindful. So that mindfulness is helping us to practice this way. It reminds us, oh, this is this, so I can practice this. So you must be able to pick up quickly and do using the Dhamma wherever you are at that particular moment. So, Kamma, that also something important we remember. Whatever I do, I am going to be the beneficiary of those karmas. So therefore, I don't have to create anything negative for me. I don't have to create negative and add into my bag that I carry through the samsara. Right? Because it gives boost to another life. So therefore we have to be careful. So I'm not saying this sharing to make fearful, of these things, but it's also nice that think about it. So you have to start thinking, and what am I going to practice? What should I do practice? So that way it helps you. When you remember the Dhamma, it helps you to continue these practices. So metta is the base. Buddha talks about it. And many different sutras he talks about it. Then he encouraged all four of them together. Most of the sutras, I saw it in Subha Sutta. I saw it in Rajya Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya. So it's a funny story. In the Rajya Sutta, Buddha was thinking one day, why these people are, People don't have to rule the countries. They don't need weapons. Without having weapons, people, rulers can do the governing of the countries. If we compassionate, using this, metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha, if they have this, definitely people, this is how, according to Dasaraja Dhamma, the Chakravarti, King Chakravarti is ruling the countries. But when Buddha was doing that, evil one could see the Buddha's mind, and he comes and in disguised form, and the story says he was requesting, wherever Buddha, please come and rule this country. You can do it because you have done practice such a long time, so therefore you can rule the country without having any kind of weaponry or anything. Then when he asked the question, how did you do this? How do you know that? Oh, you practice all this, fourfold, what we call that, energy, skills that you have. So Buddha recognized this is nobody else other than the Mara. So then Mara, what I have left, I will never come back again. I will not go back to it again. I know that who you are. So therefore, when he recognized, he disguised, so he ran away from him. But even the Mara can think of Dhamma sometimes. Because the descriptions are about, he, as a good person, 15 days good person and bad person. Even though that, Mara's concept of Mara in such, he also knew these things. But why Buddha left all those things are because the ruling country means that you are creating negativities, mostly. Because your karma, sensual pleasures, they are with that. Whoever has this karma, what are they? Anger is behind them. Anger is there. There's no compassion in that. So they are desiring for enjoying power. What is happening today in the world? Same thing, right? Rulers are always nice. They like to have their own power. Searching for power. After that, there's anger is there. Kama raga. Desire for sensual pleasures. Wherever you have that, anger is there. So we have to liberate that from these two things. Kama ragena daihami. Burn out from the kama raga, desire for sensual pleasures. So therefore in this human realm, even the hell realms as well as human realm, up to Brahma realms, it is called Kama world. Pleasure, worlds of pleasures. Up to 6, heavenly realm, also same. So we are all searching for the pleasures. Wherever that is, there's anger is there. Patigha is there. Patigha means conflict because of anger. So therefore, Buddha say, whoever practice these mental qualities, sublime qualities, metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha, if you die without achieving the goals, where would you end up? Heavenly realms or Brahma realms. Buddha explained that in those particular suttas. I think he's mentioned about it, Subha Sutta, Makadeva Sutta. He talks about that. Those are coming in Majjhima Nikaya discourses. So if you die in certain meditation and development of your this metta and karuna, you will be born into certain Brahma realms. Their lifespan is so long. First one is aeon, and second one is 2 eons, and 4 eons, and 500 eons. Like Abhasara, realm called Abhasara Brahmaloka. What is called this? That is the world that human beings, according to Aganya Sutta, that's the world that human beings came Brahma beings come to this human realm. I think you may have read it or heard it. Agganya Sutta in Digha Nikaya. In particular one, that's where they come from, and they're very subtle, and the bodies, they come to this world. They taste the, primordial soup, what we call about, scientific, they call primordial soup. Something similar, that there was a cream of the crust of this cream on the earth. That is, they tasted. They like it. So, eating, what happened to them? They become gross bodies, that subtle bodies disappear, and they start having gross bodies. So that's how, according to Agganya Sutta, the human beings began in this human realm. However, now, so this is the reason why they call noble qualities or sublime qualities. Noble, Brahma is as a noble lifestyle. There's no, in the Brahma realms, they do, whoever have this, your Metta, Karuna, Mudita and Upekkha, these 4 qualities, they are closer to the Brahma. Especially, parents are called Brahmas regarding the children and parents' relationship in the, what that sutta, Sigalovada Sutta. Brahmati Mata Pitaro. Mother and father are Brahmas. In what sense? For having Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha towards their children. They have that. They want their children to be nicely grow up and successful in their future lives. So not everybody else having it towards, maybe parents have towards children, not to the other people. So therefore he called this is a noble quality. In the Brahma realms, there's no karma raga. When you have heard that when we do 10 fetters, I believe that all of you have heard about this. Kama raga, Rupa raga, Kama raga, Patika, Rupa raga. So these are the 3 qualities that in the first, the one who becomes Sotapanna, they disappear these. And but there's one question. Kama raga, Rupa raga, Arupa raga, these are all sense, pleasure, seeking the qualities that they have. Kama raga, in Kama raga, Patigha comes in between. Reason behind that was, wherever Kama raga is, there's a Patigha. Patigha means, the conflict, your anger, your hatred, your ill will is there. So therefore, Buddha spoke about it. So this is something we have to work out. Wherever this sensual pleasure seeking is, then the Patigha is there. So therefore, he encouraged us to work it out and get it out from our system. So that was what he was talking about. And who has this, who developed these qualities, they will end up, if you are practicing, continue to practice. Sometimes you have to remember this jhanic state, you decline from it. You can come to the status of jhanic state by practicing meditation. These are meditation forms. And when you do practice, you will become successful. But if you do not strengthen it, continue to practice it, you will decline from it. Even Buddha always come to, when he was not teaching, engaged in things, so he was in the state of mind he brings into this jhanic state, his samadhi. So when we do practice these qualities, if we are not declined from these qualities, if we die with them, we will be, according to this, the noble qualities, we will be born into that kind of realms, Brahma realms. Suddhavasa, pure abodes. So that's what, in the teaching it comes. And there, they would not come back to human realm. I think in Anagami level, what you said, Anagami, especially in Anagami level, not coming back into the human realm. They will be in these pure abodes. There they would continue to practice, and they will be find the liberation there. Come to the realization of Dhamma. Because they also, even that level, they do practice in the Brahma realms. So therefore this is called Brahma, or the Brahma Vihara is the Pali word. Brahma Vihara. The way you live, Vihara comes from Viharati, from the way that you live as noble beings. Therefore they call it Brahma Vihara. These 4 qualities are called Brahma Viharas. So we can practice them. Everyday life, we do practice them. Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha. Suppose you seeing the success of some person, someone, you become very happy instead of feeling of jealous. Antidote for that jealousy is the mudita. So practicing, learning, adopting them, so we do have opportunity to practice those things everyday life. Remember, these are for everyday life. Karuna is to everyday life. There may be opportunities for you where you can, practice. Upekha, as we said, seeing it, so you can see with very compassionately, you can look at the other person. When you see that someone is doing something wrong, then you feel sad about it, you feel sorry about it, then you say, wow, if I can free this person this kind of action, if we can get this one to not to do this kind of mischievous things. So you have compassionate thoughts are there to help out. Your mind would be seeking the way to help this person, to liberate him from such negative karmas. So this is the way that we can, very simple way that of course there are in the sutras, he talks about how he was, describing from this human realm, the person would be connecting with those Brahma realms too. We know that according to the teachings of the Buddha, there are 31 planes of existence. Even though not visible, even though we cannot see it, yet as the Buddha, respectfully, I still believe that Buddha was not coming to this world to mislead us, but what he could saw that he was describing. So sometimes what happens is we are going beyond the limit, we are searching for that, where is this? And kind of, thoughts would be arising in us. Yet, if we do suppose what we're supposed to do, we will end up being in those places, where we could liberate ourselves from our samsaric, suffering that we're going through. For that reason, he was guiding us. So if we have 5 precepts as well as these 4 qualities, that itself would be good enough for us to continue, by continuing to find our own liberation. So alleviate our suffering. So I like to stop here as a few thoughts. So maybe you can start thinking about these things. That's the important thing. Importance of many, I can remember the numbers of those sutras in Anguttara Nikaya. That's where he was mentioned. That's the place I was reading about Buddha's encouragement for 5 precepts. In addition to 5 precepts, practice these 4 principles in our life. So that would bring us the peace that we are searching for, alleviating the suffering from this samsaric sojourn. So all of us are, so take it into your minds. Let me practice this. Have determination. Set to your mind, I'm going to practice this Dhamma. You don't have to say it is Buddhism. Buddhism is coined by our human beings, not the Buddha. What Buddha taught was the Dhamma. He was seeing the reality, he was sharing it with us. This is what I saw, because he could penetrate through. Remember, when he was enlightening that particular night, he went through many lives. He could see, he said, in eons and eons, I could see through. What he collected was that common things from those lives. That is what he presented to us as Four Noble Truths. To realize these Four Noble Truths. So he shared with us all those things are what we learn as Dhamma is Buddha's experiences. His experiential knowledge he shared with us. That is the Dhamma. So we may have a lot of questions when we read it. Questioning is good. Questioning is giving us opportunity to understand. So always, I do still myself. There are things that I cannot understand. So I like to meet with friends and then discuss those things. So we do. We are all human beings. We can see all what he saw. What he saw was so deep. Buddha himself saw is so deep. Would there be people who can understand this? Where did he think that? I think you know it. Remember, Buddha was after his getting enlightenment, then he was starting this, reflecting on the Dhamma. Then he said, this Dhamma is so deep. Would people be able to understand this? So subtle and so deep. It is so deep. So that's the reason why Sahampati Brahma came and invited him to teach. That's the opportunity that he had. So therefore, without practicing, we will not understand anything. Learn and practice so we can see it. If we do really practice metta in 6 directions, covering whole world, that would help us to develop our mind, our attitudes towards everybody else. No anger in you. Like the mother who had, when we have ulterior motives, we have anger. But if you really have compassion, you don't have anger. So you develop metta into compassion. There you can see this. This is that I can share with you. If you have questions also, I like to take one question or 2 questions. So this is simple. I didn't say anything deep. Something very simple, something that you know. I think I was refreshing your memories, what you had learned before and what you know. That's always what we can do because you have learned so much Dhamma, listening to other monks. But what we have to do is, we have to get them to practice. Push ourselves into practice. That's the hard part. Nobody else can. We ourselves have to push ourselves to practice. So thank you for coming this morning. And I received the dana in memory of Chia Cheng Long. And so he, as well as many connected to our lives, if there are any being expecting any kind of spiritual help, may they rejoice this wholesomeness. By sharing Dhamma, whatever that I accumulate, I can be happy. And I share with all our departed relatives. May they rejoice this wholesomeness, may they all attain ultimate bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And may all the devas who protect the world and sasana, may they rejoice this wholesomeness, may they all attain ultimate bliss of Nibbana. And including our friends, relatives, our parents, forefathers, and Venerable Chief Reverend who was here, who opened the path to listen to this Dhamma and making a new tradition here, sharing the Dhamma Center. So may all this good merit be shared with him as well as all our departed relatives. May they all and may we all attain ultimate bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you.
I'm still a little bit perplexed as to whether it is a feeling or a thought. Is metta, loving kindness, compassion, does it start with a feeling or does it start with a thought? Because,
feeling would be coming afterwards, having you develop in your mind, right? We should at least have to have a thought of metta, and then we sit and start practicing. Suppose now we always do that. May I be well and happy. May I be free from harm and grief. May I be free from... I have guided children to do practice more on this, because it may be just a word for them at the beginning, but if you practice it every day, then there may be a time that you feel it. For example, I would share with you, being a monk, novice monk, we were 7 of us together, and I was an ill-tempered person as a child. So once, among children, you pick up, they can sense that you are getting angry faster. So they always start teasing me. So one day these novice monks were fighting, and I hurt one of my brother monks. So that changed me, because we were doing meditation. Then I asked question myself, so you practice metta every day, so how can you hurt the other person? So that made me wake up on this. And then from that time I determined, no, even though they do this kind of mischievous things, I would not get upset with them. I just practice my metta. So this is how things are happening in our lives. So therefore, at the very beginning, still you may be just doing because the others are doing, because you learn to do this. But then definitely we have to build up, strengthen ourselves, then it become, helping you, so that once you have that, then it will be automatically come to that extension of compassion. You feel sad, you feel very compassionate about the other person. That person is going through the pain. Seeing that pain, that is where that feeling comes. Daily practice helps you. I always ask children to practice more and more, because it's only a word, metta is only a word, but then we must be able to do. We do inquire the children, so how do you do practice? What comes to your mind? So now what do you think about? So likewise, we have to open their paths by questioning children. Otherwise we just say the words and keep going. But then when we see, what action do you do? So then they will be coming up and share with you, oh, I did this today. There was a bird who was falling down, and then I would try to save that. Likewise, they learn something and keep practicing every day.
Bhante, morning.
Good morning.
Could you share a little bit on the talk that I heard you gave a very good talk on last 2 weeks on this anti-rupa, the final, that kind of like the ceremony. So happened that it's related to this topic, and then it's related to the practice and the real example. So could you share? Thank you. A person, what I heard was that person's, she was very happy, she was very ready to go kind of situation. So hearing that I was happy, that means that person had worked out, lived in the Dhamma. So when someone is living in the Dhamma, they are not fearful of the death, if you are just referring to it. So death also object of meditation for monks especially. We have 4 kinds of meditation. 4 meditation. Buddhanusati, reflecting on the Buddha. Metta, the other one. Metta meditation, reflecting on the Buddha and the Metta. And Asubha, impurities of the body. And Marana. These 4 meditations have to be done every day for the monks. They are called Chaturarakha, 4 protective meditations. When we do practice, when we remind, by practicing reflection on the Buddha, it reminds us the qualities of the Buddha. By practicing metta, of course, that we develop the friendliness towards all beings. Asubha is
fragility of our body we can see. So then we have no raga for it, attachment to it. So we're supposed to get rid of. Then marana is, of course, it is something that every day getting closer to us. So therefore, that's also something we have to remember and to adjust for our own benefit. It's not selfishly doing it, but with understanding you do this meditations. So every day when you do this with meaningfully, so that helps you to stay where you're supposed to stay, as a monk especially.
Sukhihontu Bhante. Bhante, my question is actually related to something you said just now. You said after the metta, we go into the karuna, we try to understand why the other person is trying to hurt us.
Why?
Why the other party tries to hurt us or continue to hurt us. So you mentioned about the ignorance. Yeah? In our metta meditation, we talk about the ignorance of ourselves, why we accepted. We are hurt because of the words that is used, the abuse that is done to us. So it was all about us, more a self-centered kind of situation. But now you're expanding it to understanding the other party. So I've been through this situation, and the other party was hurting me, abusing me with words. I've got through the process of understanding the words don't mean much to me if I don't give meaning to it. But today in this session, you're talking about helping the other person. I explained to the other person that the words hurt me in what way. But today it does not. But the words also hurt her in certain ways, like the karma and things like that. But Bhante, being a Buddhist, we accept karma. But being a Christian, her choice of understanding is that as long as she goes back to the Lord and she let the Lord know that she has sinned and asks for forgiveness, all this will be over. So she will repeat it day after day and not feel remorse over it. So Bhante, when we deal with such a situation, there's a tendency that we try to protect ourselves rather than help the other person. You understand where I'm going? So sometimes we feel sad because we hope we can help the other person so that she can be a better person to herself and to us. So Bhante, do you have any guides that we can use in this kind of situation?
Yeah, that's also kind of ignorance in a way, of course, with that person. That person doesn't know, and also who knows what we have done, if it is coming from the previous lives, situations as a karmic resultants. We don't know. So that's also one angle that we can look at. Because that's in the Dhammapada story, go to that Nahi Verena Vera, I think Dhammapada verse 5 in the first chapter. So you can look at it, how they are repeatedly coming after. So these are the things that we must be able to forgive to anybody. I may have done things to wrong, so then if I have done anything wrong, please forgive me, as well as if anybody has done any wrongdoings to me, so I will forgive all those things, because we are not carrying them. Those are bonds that we're carrying after us. So therefore, in such situation, what you have is, still you have to forgive that person. That's the practice, as Buddha says. We must, maybe as a result of any samsaric wrongdoings, if this is coming after me, you must be able to still forgive that person, or anything that I have done, forgive me for that. But that person may not understand, but in your mind you may have to say that. Or as whenever you practice mornings or evenings, sometimes you may be able to, when you do practice your metta, after practicing so that still you can wish that person, recovery. For due to some karmic reasons, even this person, if they are carrying something, may she recover from these negativities. So other than that, I don't know what to say, that you let it out from your head and bring peace to yourself. Otherwise, you may keep thinking and thinking. It may not do any good. So that's, if you can pick up, that's also as something for you to practice. Strengthen your metta. So that, yes, definitely. Yes. There may be in the irritative situations in everyday life, definitely. So this is an opportunity for you to practice, I think. So when you pick up from that point of view, so that would be something helpful for you. You can only thing you can do is just, wishing her peace and happiness, nothing else. Because she is not ready to let go of that, that's why. Let me give the blessing, share the blessing. Abhivadana silissa niccang vaddha pachayino chattaro dhamma vaddanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti meva chato nibbana sampatti iminate samijjhatu. Thank you.